Welcome to a Season 14 guide on getting plus 100 LP with Renekton in solo queue. Now, if you play a different champion, don't click away, as most of these tips can be used on a lot of champions and even for the mid lane role. One last thing you should know is the timestamps will show the same tips but in a different game example, proving that doing these tips in every game really is the recipe to winning these games. Game 1 and tip 1, always get to lane on time or early, and for pre-lobby always try to get close to the last pick for Renekton. Now the reason you want to get to lane on time at the minimum is because you don't want to get pushed in and lose the level 2 race. So match the enemy wave push like we do here, and you can even take Q first to help you with this, but always Q enemy plus the wave and not just the wave. Another reason you don't want to miss out on level 2 first is you will be at a level disadvantage for the trades, and Renekton trades are much better at level 2 and 3. On top of this, there's a lot of matchups where Renekton wins these early level trades, which I will shortly give tips on. But winning these early trades allows him to eventually eliminate the enemy, granting you a 300 gold lead, in which the more gold lead you create is going to help you get your items quicker and snowball, which in turn is going to give you the best chance to carry and win. Now there was a lot of things to unpack in that first tip. You might want to go over it again, as this tip is very important and it's going to be reoccurring in the next game and the third game. So here, one example of a simple early trade is E into the enemy, auto, Q, and then E out. And as you can see, we have an early health advantage thanks to all these things done. Now moving on to wave management, we know we need to fast push in the wave, and that's because it's too pushed up, making us an easy target for a gank. If you do not do this, you're likely going to get ganked, resulting in the enemy top or jungler getting 300 gold and getting their items quicker, which is going to make them do more damage, and this inevitably is going to make it harder for you to win the game. So choosing the best summoners versus your opponent kind of ties in with this tip. Since you're going to be trading early a lot, it's best to go flash TP. Reason being, if you're not sure whether you win the trade early, or even if you mess up an early trade, you can always TP back to lane. Then once you've played the matchup a few times, you'll be more comfortable with trading and winning trades early, where you can also switch to Ignite Flash once you're more confident, or stick with TP Flash. So this is very beneficial if you're a Renekton player that isn't too confident with your matchup, or you're not sure if you win the trades early, as this will benefit you a lot because you do want to be trading early. So knowing how to play your champion when ganked. So as Renekton, one thing you can always do is double dash towards your turret, as it's always a good option. Now the reason this is a good option, and basically your only option, is neither Kayle or Kindred are low enough for Renekton to be able to kill. So we double dash back and then flash, and we managed to get both their flashes too. This is actually the best scenario for us once we've burnt our flash. Reason being, it helps your team, as if your jungle ganks top, Kayle has no flash. Likewise, if Kindred ganks another lane, he has no flash to secure a kill or match your ally's flash. Now for your items and build, you always want to know what your most optimum item is. We know we need tier 2 boots as we're up against a ranged top laner, and since they have a Kindred, plated boots are the most optimal buy here. Again, if you don't buy correct, you won't do enough damage, or you won't be tanky enough, resulting in you getting eliminated and not being able to 1v1 when you should be able to 1v1. This results in no pressure on the map and losing team fights, which are things that you need if you are going to win the game. Moving on to the tip, gold lead plays. Okay, so making the correct plays in terms of gaining a gold lead. So we know we can't kill the Kayle here. Instead, we're trying to go for turret plating gold to create a lead, which is what we do. This is going to accelerate our build, and it's going to help us become more tanky, which is going to allow us to be more impactful in team fights and splitting the side lane push. Now we're at mid game, and you still want to be trading and managing your wave correctly. At this stage, you also want to add in enemy awareness. We all know the Kayle has been playing super safe all game, and so proxying at this stage of the game is perfectly fine, as you can make an impact for your team just by making the jungler come top and stop you from proxying, or even get the enemy mid laner to come top lane and stop you proxying. The reason being, your whole team will see that the enemy jungler is there or the enemy top lane is there, and they can counter that via pushing in the wave or taking enemy jungle. Now, I would only recommend proxying post level 8 on Renekton, and if you're confident on your matchup and mechanics. Now at mid game, no matter what champion you're playing, your objective is to damage or take towers. Reason being, that is what's going to get you closer to taking an inhibitor, and that is what you need in order to win the game. You need to take out inhibitor to win the game. That is self-explanatory. You'll get those super minions and you'll be able to damage the Nexus towers. Now, since your allies are playing well, it becomes even better for you to split push. Reason being, minions die super quick under tower without a cannon minion. And so to do damage to a tier 2 tower, it becomes even harder, especially when the enemy champions are damaging the minions too. Now, thanks to this split push, we get an extra 700 gold and take down a tier 2 tower, which once again is going to get you one step closer to taking down a tier 3 and an inhibitor. So, after you take a tier 2 tower, your next priority or objective is to get a tier 3 tower or make sure you're in the next team fight. Those become your two most important things after taking a tier 2 tower. So you know when to split push. Now you'd want to know when to group. Knowing when to group at late game is super important, and remember, you still want to take a tier 3. So here you can clearly see most of the team is at a tier 3 and there's a minion wave with them. So it's best to TP here and help take the tower. Be sure to ping the tower, as most players in this elo will focus on diving the enemy champions. Now if we did not TP here, we would not have taken this tower. We caused that extra pressure, and if the enemies decided to go in, we're here with our CC and extra damage. So finally, we get an inhibitor, and once you've got an inhibitor, you should always be looking to do Baron or get a second inhibitor. So when is the perfect time to take Baron? The perfect time to take Baron is when you see 2 or more enemies defending a wave. That is the perfect time to take Baron. So here you can see the Caitlyn is defending mid while the LeBlanc is pushing bot, and that is the perfect time to take Baron. And that is what helps us close out this game. Now, second game, we're going to go over the exact same tips. I'm going to prove to you that this actually works. So let us begin. Now, just in case anyone is not sure if it's a 3-win streak or getting plus 34 LP per game, here's the proof. So we're playing Renekton and we're up against a Kayle top lane. Then we're up against a Gragas, and that is for the second game. So this is the game you're about to see with a Briar jungle. And then finally, we have a Sion top lane with a Neferi jungle. So first tip, once again, arriving to lane on time, and at a minimum you want to at least match the level 2 race. Once again, the best summoners for your matchup, TP Flash is perfectly fine here. Moving on to early trades, as you can see, we get our level 2 first and E trade into him. For this combo, we go for Eing onto the champion, 1 auto, E again, another auto, and then Q. Once again, we have the health advantage. So as you can see, it's very similar to last game's early start. We know what we should be doing at the start of the game. We know how to trade at early levels to get an HP advantage. Now, once again, it's the same as last game. We got the wave management. We want to push this in as we're overextended in lane, making us vulnerable to a gank. And we push in the wave and base. The reason we push in the wave and base is because we've already collected all the wave, and the Gragas's HP is not diveable under tower. On top of this, we have the same HP as Gragas, and so it becomes a 50-50 on who wins the fight. And like stated earlier, you do not want to give the enemies a 300 gold lead. Now, once again, we get ganked, but we do not have any of our abilities up to finalize the kill on the Gragas. So you'd want to instantly flash it, as you don't want to get chunked down and be forced to recall and burn your TP. If this does happen, it's basically a waste of a TP. It's better to burn your flash, wait for the wave to push back, and continue the lane. Essentially, the same events occurred, but it's knowing what you should do that is different and why you should do it. And this is what this video aims to explain. Once again, we're trading, so post 6 you should know how much damage you're doing. This will result in getting kills. We knew how much damage we were able to do, and we were able to finalize the kill, and this has created a gold lead for us. Again, it's mid game now and we're using the exact same tips. Wave management. One aspect of wave management is freezing. If I do not freeze there, he does not push up to claim his minions and we do not get this kill, thus giving us this gold lead. So once again, all these tips are very useful and these are what's going to get you the items that you need to carry games and put you in positions to capitalize. Once again, gold lead plays. Post 9, we're still trading. We've just chunked him down and he's pushed in the wave, so it's highly likely that he based, and this is why we decide to push in, and we managed to get a turret plating gold of 125. All these little things added up just creates a lead for our team. Again, we know what the most optimal build is, and that is the Sundered Sky. This is going to help out with the Gragas healing as it also heals us. Once again, knowing when to group. So Rift is up and my whole team is here. Gragas has TP'd also. We also see the Vlad. Essentially, if your opposing laner is there, you want to be there too. And we don't have any other better option. Our other options are to continue to push top lane, which is only really going to get us 150 gold. You could push into tier 2 and do some tower damage. But what you're giving up is the Rift and potentially 3 kills for your allies. Or even worse, the enemy gets 3 kills and they get the Rift. So in terms of gold swing, that is not gonna be beneficial for you, and it is gonna make it even harder for you to win the game, as the enemy team will have more items, allowing them to be more tanky and do more damage during fights. Here once again we have to go over wave management, as this leads to us doing tier 2 tower damage. So as you can see, we're pushing the wave and then instantly regroup. We don't take the next wave, as we can see that the enemy Gragas has TP'd. So we group instantly, and our priority at this stage of the game is either to do tower damage or to be grouped for the team fight. Now breaking down the fight, we instantly ult here, as we know we want our 50 Fury for that extra W stun. The enemy team falls back, but then Gragas decides to engage on us, so we decide to combo him. We ult onto him, throw an auto W, Shackle comes in for some extra damage, throw a Q, we're still doing damage. We got the AoE damage from our ultimate too. Now at this stage of the fight, the Yone's gone in and he's CC'd, so we're still pretty healthy, got more than half HP, so we can still move forward. Got another W stun off, and here you don't want to full chase this. They've already burnt flash, they're super low. My team isn't so good in terms of HP too, so the fight is pretty much won as the enemy team basically backed off. You don't have to secure the kills, especially if the enemy team is low. Once they've burnt flash and they're low, you've essentially won the fight. So as soon as we realize this, we move instantly to push in the wave and do tier 2 tower damage. As you can see, we're doing a lot of tower damage. We're collecting the wave 2, extra gold for us. So even though we didn't get the kill, we still got the gold from the minion wave, which is a lot of gold. Basically 150 gold. With a cannon wave is close to 200 gold. We can't take the tower, but we can chunk it down a lot, and this will help us for the next time we push. This tower damage was only possible thanks to us being at the fight, thanks to our knowledge of wave management, as we know we need to push in that wave and then group. So again, we see a reoccurrence of split pushing. In this case, what you want to do is match the Gragas split push. Again, where you should be on the map as a top laner in late game, we see the Gragas and our Yone is bot. So the chance of a team fight is low anyway. So just match the Gragas top lane split push. Now our ally ADC pings for a Baron. Essentially, every time a Baron call is made, you yourself need to assess if it makes sense to take the Baron. Yone has just got 2 kills bot. He's getting focused by another enemy. We have our jungle here for a smite secure, and we also have our ADC for Baron damage. So it makes 100% sense to go for Baron here, and we opt to get Baron, and we finalize the Baron play. So once you take Baron, your next thing on your mind should be taking a tier 3 tower. It's late game anyway, and again, what you should be thinking of in the late game is taking a tier 3 tower or grouping for the team fight. So we almost get a pick on this Vladimir, and instead of chasing the Vladimir to finalize the kill, which is what my team does instead, I opt to push in the mid lane wave and take the tower. My team groups up with me and we take the tier 3. Now, unfortunately, the enemy team engages on us and the Briar hits a nice ultimate on my ADC. There's nothing I can do here to save him. I tried to stun the Briar, but it just doesn't work. So we have to flash over the wall and disengage. Don't fully disengage. We know our Yone is bot lane and he's putting up a lot of pressure for us. So we re-push in the wave. We know we still have Baron buff. The tower is low as we damaged it earlier. And we're able to finalize that tier 3 tower. So split pushing and taking tower is essentially map awareness too. Also team fighting and grouping is also map awareness. So map awareness is very important, and when I list these tips of grouping, split pushing, it's basically talking about map awareness. So as you can see, the Yone is top lane, and me being aware of this, I look to see top lane what's going on, and I can see that the Yone gets 1 kill. So it looks like he could do with my support. There is 2 other players, well originally 3 players focusing him, so I come in to help out with the kill on the Pyke. Thanks to us focusing on the map, we were able to get a 2 kills for nothing trade on the enemy, and we're able to push in top lane, also able to push in mid as Shaco is doing. He's taking the inhibitor, and we could also push in that bot wave. On top of this, we also get the enemy top inhibitor. So we regroup, we have 2 inhibitors, and we have their last inhibitor open. Again, my allies are pushing mid lane, which ain't too bad. I'm just afraid that they're gonna engage, so you want to be constantly looking at the team play here. And as you can see, the flag comes over, so we look to go back to the fight. The enemies are kind of disengaging, so I have to move away from that area of the map. See that the Briar is out of position, and I instantly go over there. Perfect for us. Pyke cues us, we flash onto him. That's an easy kill for my team. Game is looking pretty much secured. Now I'm going to show you that you can get a 3-win streak using these exact same tips on the same champion, but once again some of the tips will be slightly adjusted to the scenario as you just saw in this game. Also, I'm not going to be commentating over the whole game. I will just put out the tip timestamp in the timeline, and you will be able to see how the tip works through the gameplay.
Black eye for the earth!
You have been slain. Shut down. An ally has been slain. You have slain an enemy. Killing spree.
Next on the chopping block.
my sights.
Domination. Unstoppable. Your team has destroyed an inhibitor.
The time is now.
Your team has destroyed a turret.